Developing the ultimate hitter takes a long time, obviously. We always got to start with the foundation and the mechanics of the swing. Then we get into bat speed, we get into stuff like that. Obviously, we talked about in the last chapter the mentality and the approach. This chapter, we're going to get into a little bit more of the pitch recognition process, seeing the pitch, also being able to hit pitches to all zones, hitting off-speed pitches, hitting in certain counts, even a little bit of situational hitting that I'm not going to talk about now. But these are the things that are really going to take an average hitter and make them exceptional if they learn how to develop into this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what we call, I call it the invisible box or the strike zone. Marcus is going to get ready to hit. Speeding up the eyes is something that hitters need to work on. Speeding up the eyes is the act and the motion of being able to see the pitch out of the pitcher's hand quicker. Also being able to track the ball into what's called the invisible box. So as a hitter, you have to be able to focus on the release point of the pitcher, but you also have to have out of the corner of your eye what the actual strike zone is. Sometimes the strike zone is a little bit bigger or smaller depending on the umpire. Sometimes it's a specific area depending on what the pitcher's trying to do, but the idea is to be able to get the ball into this invisible box. So what Marcus is going to do is he's going to focus on the pitch release point out of the pitcher, and he's going to try to speed up his eyes in his pitch recognition process to be able to hit the ball in the box. Last chapter we talked about being able to be yes ready, be ready for a fastball, be ready to hit. It's the same thing. Now we're trying to be able to get the pitch in the box. So having this invisible box out here is a huge tool that helps hitters to be able to hit the ball in the strike zone. Plus it helps them to be able to get pitch recognition out of the pitcher's hand and to be selective in or out of the box. It's a great tool to help. For a hitter to really develop into what's called the ultimate hitter, a hitter has to be able to control the strike zone. Okay, so the strike zone, usually the strike zone is between the knees and the waist. The reality of the strike zone is, as I wrote about, is the strike zone is usually below the knees to the waist. So we got to be able to hit the low pitch and be able to lay off the high pitch. The first thing I'm going to talk about is an inside pitch. Hitters that can hit an inside pitch and an outside pitch consistently will have a better opportunity for success on all types of pitching. So hitting an inside pitch is definitely different than hitting an outside pitch. An inside pitch, you got to hit it more out in front. The body's got to stay more stacked. If he dives in at all, he'll get jammed up a little bit. The hips got to rotate fully, and the hands got to get contact point out in front a little bit. So that's a different approach to hitting an outside pitch. The outside pitch can be hit a little bit deeper, but still out in front. A lot of coaches will train their hitters to hit the ball too deep out in here. They still got to hit it out by the front foot. The difference is their hands will go kind of away from their body. Their body will have a slight lean out to go reach it, and their hips are only going to rotate about 3/4 or halfway through. A low pitch, the biggest thing on a low pitch is being able to stay down in their backside. So if a hitter cannot go down and hit pitches down in here, they will never be successful. So you can see how his backside is down. You see big leaguers all the time drop to their back knee and hit bombs out of the yard. So a low pitch, to adjust to the low pitch, their backside's got to go down as well as their hands right into there. The idea of hitting a high pitch, number one, is to learn how to lay off of it. But number two, if you are going to hit that, chest-high type fastball, your body's got to stay taller and your hands got to try to stay above the ball. On the high pitch, you might have a little bit more downward motion with your hands just to try to stay on the top half, but your body is going to slightly adjust. A pitch that runs a little bit deep, get ready like you're going to hit. A pitch that maybe it's a hanging curveball or a fastball that gets on them too deep, their body's actually going to lean back a little bit and contact the ball back in here with their hands. So their body's going to adjust that way. A pitch that's out in front, say they get fooled on a changeup or a curveball and it's way out in here, they're actually going to lunge a little bit to go get it, to go here. So what this just showed you is we have 6 different contact points. We have an inside, outside, high, low. We have a deep and out front. If his body can learn how to adjust to the pitch, that's what's going to make him stand out. The problem with this is most of the time the swing gets too mechanical, gets too perfect, that doesn't allow him to adjust. If we can teach him to be able to adjust to all types of pitches like this, he's well on his way to becoming to learn how to be the best hitter he can possibly be. Situational hitting, I'm not going to get too detailed with that. As I talked in the book, most coaches will have their own philosophies on what situational hitting is. What I am going to get into a little bit is hitting with counts. Hitting with different counts is basically the difference between being a really, really good hitter and just being an okay hitter. The overall idea is every count that a hitter is in, no matter whether it's 2 balls, 2 strikes, it does not matter what the count is, it's always an aggressive count. The hitter is on offense. The hitter is never on a defensive situation. With 2 strikes, they're still in an offensive situation. They're still trying to attack the ball. They're just widening their zone a little bit. So the more aggressive, the extremely offensive counts are the 3-1, the 3-0, the 2-0 type of counts where you know a fastball is coming, you got to get on it. If you know a fastball is coming, you can cheat a little bit to get on it, but do not miss that pitch. The accounts that they're just kind of aggressive are the ones that are maybe even 1-1, 2-1, 0-1, stuff like that. And then the The 2 strike counts are the ones where you got to shorten up a little bit, focus on putting the ball in play, but a lot of times with 2 strikes, kids will do too much just to try to poke at it. They still got to have the mentality and the approach to really attack the ball even with 2 strikes. It just doesn't mean you're trying to hit a bomb. So make sure that each count, as I wrote about in the book, make a hitter focus on that kind of stuff depending on what the pitcher's trying to do, and I promise that their success on the field will definitely increase. The brutal reality of hitting is that most of the stuff that's the most important aspects when it comes to hitting never gets taught. So the reality of it is the kids and the players these days get fine-tuned mechanically all the time, but they never really get into the mental aspects that will really enhance their skills to kind of take them to that next level. If a hitter is truly serious about playing at the highest level possible, they have to learn the mental aspects talked about in this chapter to really advance their skills and to be able to get to that next level. So take this chapter, learn it, work at it, do everything you can to know it all, and then at the same time, it's a long process. So stick with it, keep working at it, and I promise you these things talked in this chapter will help you advance.